One of the most crucial elements of your role as a CEO is making decisions for both the day-to-day and the future of your company. You are ultimately responsible for and accountable for everything that happens in the business, whether you are aware of it or not. And your decisions about strategy, about people, operations and resources shape the organization. Your decisions have greater impact than anyone else's. You are the final arbiter of the strategy and direction of the organization. You set the tone in terms of culture, and what you decide is and isn't acceptable is a key factor in shaping the environment. The speed and accuracy of your decision making is critical to the operational efficiency, agility, and momentum of the company, while your decisions around R&D priorities, market positioning, and the sales approach you'll take ultimately determine overall success. But making great decisions isn't a natural strength for most people. They either hesitate, waiting until they have all the information before taking action, and then realizing that all the information doesn't exist and wouldn't help if it did, or they're impulsive, taking risks that haven't fully been thought through and finding themselves often in sticky situations. Now, if I'm honest, my tendency is towards the latter. I tend to trust my gut, and although that's often a positive thing, it has led to poor decisions when it's not been managed properly. So if you're like me, you'll need to find a way to verify your decisions without second-guessing yourself constantly, which can be a very difficult balance to strike. And then if you sway toward the other extreme, putting off making decisions as long as is possible, you'll reduce the pace of progress in your business and become a bottleneck for growth. Any decision is better than no decision, but an informed decision is better than a rash one. It's all about balance. Now, I've developed a 5-step process that I tend to take when making decisions. And for big decisions, it takes a bit of time, and for small ones, it's quick, and it leads me to a conclusion whenever I work through it. So first, ask yourself the question, is this a decision that I need to make? Often, you'll find that decisions get pushed to the CEO because no one else really wants to make a call. And if you get into the habit of running the rule over everything that happens in your business, it's all you'll end up doing. You'll also disempower people who'll think they should check with you. So start by questioning whether this is something that should be on your plate or if it should be on someone else's. Because if you can delegate, you should. Just bear in mind that whoever you delegate to might decide differently to you, and you need to be comfortable with that. So as an example, recently one of the team here at Singular sent me 3 separate emails asking whether we should get travel insurance for an upcoming business trip. And try as I might, I couldn't find the motivation to make a decision one way or the other on a £25 cost. So I pushed it back to her. Because every decision you make costs you mental energy. And that's why Steve Jobs famously wore the same outfit every day. So if a decision can be made effectively without your involvement, make sure that it's taken off your hands and you don't use your energy on it. But if you've concluded that you should absolutely take the lead in this particular instance, then note your instinctive reaction and investigate why you had that reaction first. Often our instincts are there to protect us from danger, which means avoiding risk, and this isn't the best basis to operate from. Question why you feel the way you do, and explore both the positives and the negatives of charting the course that's been proposed. If the risk is high, but the reward is exciting, is there a way to mitigate the downside and tip the balance? Think through the potential outcomes and see then if your first response still stands. As an example, when we decided to take the plunge and launch our US business, my initial reaction was no. It was too soon, I thought, and we'd be overstretched. Now, I didn't ignore that, but instead I tried to understand the contributing factors to that gut feeling, which led me to evaluating the opportunity much more closely. And that in turn drove greater excitement. And the question I was asking myself shifted from, can we do this, to how can we do this? And that one word made a massive difference, and we decided to go ahead. Once you've analysed your reaction, you might find that you don't want to progress, and that's fine, decision made. But if you lean towards positive action, the next step is to educate yourself. That doesn't mean learning everything there is to know about the topic, but figuring out what you need to take into account to make an informed decision and then gathering that information is a really important part of making decisions. In most businesses, typical things you'll want to consider are: what's it going to cost? Will it disrupt the rest of our business negatively? What's the actual opportunity, and what kind of return can we expect? How long will it take to break even? Who's going to do it? How will they go about it? And none of this information guarantees success, but it will give you a better picture of what you need to consider and will give you a head start on creating a plan. Speaking to people who've done what you're planning to do, and especially to potential customers, is always a great idea. And you can get plenty of insight these days from ChatGPT. Just make sure to check it and investigate further. Now, you may find, having done all of this, that you're ready to go. Or you might still hesitate. And if the latter's true, remind yourself that very few decisions are irreversible. If this is one of those rare crossing the Rubicon occasions, then please tread very carefully and take your time. In most cases, though, action is better than inaction, and typically starting down a path will mean that you're in a position to amend your approach as you progress. It's also worth bearing in mind that if you find a decision particularly challenging, it's often because you're trying to choose between options that are very similar in impact. Decisions with a clear better outcome are usually easy. It's those where the difference is marginal that difficulty sets in. So make a call. But your final point of reference before you do should be the mission of your organization. Weigh your decision against your mission and see if it gets you closer than you are today. If it does, push ahead. If not, don't do it. Your mission should be your North Star for decision making. And once you've come to your decision, commit. Don't regret your choice, but do make sure you build in points of measurement and review. Change your question from "can we do this?" or "should we do this?" to "how can we do this?" As soon as you start doing that, you'll be much more difficult to stop.